Okay, thank you very much for your question. So I think you have two questions, right? The first one, okay, like how to submit, and also like experience from the editor for your submissions. So I think that first of all, I would like to invite Professor Michelle to say maybe lady first, and after that we can go with the other, let's say, international, and we come with the Indonesian and last to share the experience with you. Okay, Professor Michelle, please.
Thank you very much for the question, and I will try and answer it in a way that will be talking about the Journal of Business Ethics, but that you might be able to think about other journals in a similar way. And that is that the easiest way to get desk rejected, or the easiest, or perhaps the on the site that you're interested in, the way to try and get into the review process is to ensure that your paper is actually in the scope of the journal. So for us, that means that it's not just a paper about business generally, but a paper about business ethics. We are not prescriptive about the type of ethical theory or your particular argument, but it is highly recommended that you would be framing your study as a study using an ethical lens from the outset rather than adding ethics at the end. That is the way in which to involve yourself in our journal, and I think the same would hold for a journal of strategic management or a journal of leadership, is that lens has to be there from the beginning. The other thing that I would encourage you to do is just to be very clear on what the purpose or the question is that your paper is addressing, and ideally make it an interesting question, because it is really in that first few sentences, whether that's in the abstract or the introduction, that you're either going to win over or lose over the editor. And so conceptualizing with the particular phenomena from the beginning, and being very clear on what it is that you're trying to do.
Okay, thank you. I think Professor I want to echo something.
Okay, I'm going to add some points from Professor Michelle, that you have a good aspect for the question. The first one, how do you write a paper to submit the journal, already very high quality requirement. So basing on the presentation from Professor Gabi Lee this morning, you can learn more from there in detail. For our journal, normally we have a very good policy for PhD students. So when you submit your paper, should write a cover letter and mentioning that you are a PhD student together with your supervisor. And I know that the UNPAC and Udayana University student, and you already joined these conferences, the field mostly related to economic and business. So our scope, okay, more focused on economic and business in Asian countries. So you have a more chance to submit. Thank you.
Okay, I think Associate Professor we also have something to share. So basically, you are really lucky to have a lot of experience from all the professors here. Okay.
Thank you. I think it shows your seriousness in conducting high quality research and publishing high quality articles. So again, a good article must come from robust study. Okay? But it doesn't need to be a big idea. It can be just an idea that may be very common to our daily life and our disciplines. But the way how we present it. So the way we present it with a good article, that you to make sure that when the reader they spend time reading it, they feel a little bit smarter in a certain way. Okay? They feel a little bit smarter, and they feel that what you present there is convincing to them. And they can trust the finding, and they trust your argumentation. Yeah. I think from practical perspectives, as an early career researcher, I think it's a learning curve. The learning curve is key. So make sure that you make use, you optimize the available resources, support resources from the university and also surrounding, also from the event and the conferences, ethically. Okay? Thank you. And the last thing I want to share here is like managing the emotional process when you get feedback and you respond to the editor and the reviewers. I've been editing the journal. We've been working on this journal on a daily basis. So to some extent, like sometimes I met the situation that the author responds to the comment to sometimes so incorrect. So it doesn't show the ethics. And that's the case, I had to reject the paper after 3 rounds of revision because the author was so aggressive and unfair to the reviewers. Yeah. So I think that is a learning curve, and managing the emotional process of like you get a rejection or you get major revision, just leave it for a few days, doing something, that's some fun, doing some other thing. And when you feel ready emotionally, get back to it. Make sure to make use of available resources again from your supervisor, from other colleagues and teachers. Okay. Good luck.
Okay, so I think that like tomorrow we also have very excellent keynote speaker by Professor Michel that how you can maintain, let's say, international standard, but also you can also follow local norms. So I think that Professor Trudy is also share a little bit about how local practice and how the local norms for you.
Thank you. Thank you for the question. To respond, I think several answers already provided. In addition to that one, the first question is why rejected the right transfer. Besides ethics, usually in terms of contribution, novelty is cannot be proven. Sometimes very unclear. So you need to write clearly in order to mention what is the research contribution. Second, usually about the scope of the paper with it related. But in your case, because you belong to the same department, usually the issues of scope is not to be. But when we submit to the international journal that have certain issues, we need to very carefully whether fit with the scope or not. If not related, it's better to avoid it. And then the second question, I think the trick and tips, so many, I think Professor Gaby and so on. But we can learn from many cases how to write the good publication, and then to respond properly, clearly with the review feedback. So by following that one, sometimes takes time, but doing again and again makes it more easier. I think that's my comment. Thank you.
Okay, do you want to share a little bit, Professor Shukrata?
Well, this is from my personal experience. Maybe we should, when you write, you should be less Indonesian in how you write. I've got a paper rejected, and the comments was just one comment, but repeatedly. This should come earlier. This should come earlier. The way that Indonesian write is that we tend to go on and on before we get to the main content. I don't think that works in any other part of the world. It works in Indonesian journal, yes, and we've seen that style of writing in Indonesian students, but we should be less like that. You should be more straightforward in your argument, in your topic area, and be less long-winded in writing. I guess that's for me.
Okay, thank you very much. I think that we still have time for another question.